News Hour is provided in part by
the New Mexico Humanities Council, seeking to understand who we were, who we are, and who we hope to be. The New Mexico Humanities Council, proud to support public and interpretive programs throughout New Mexico.
The Las Cruces Bulletin, reporting local news and events each week to more than 60,000 local readers, and always online in electronic edition at lascrucesbulletin.com.
America's top critics are unanimous in their praise for the Vietnam War. Astounding, worth every single minute of your time, declares the Washington Post. Compelling, deeply felt, says Time Magazine. It will break your heart and win your mind, exclaims the New York Times. A monumental achievement, raves Vanity Fair. A masterpiece, says CNN. The Vietnam War. All episodes available now on Passport.
My heart keeps going back to Nashville.
This is Ray Stevens, and I'm trying to keep a low profile. The Blue Cyclone stops by Cabaret in Nashville this week, and we just don't get along. I mean, I get along fine with Aaron Tippin, though, and who wouldn't?
You'd say you've got to stand for something, or you'll fall for anything.
Make a date to tune in this week and see if I survive the cyclone.
Saturday at 4:30 p.m. on KRWG-TV.
We came from Puerto Rico. We moved here to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania when I was 4 years old. I'd come from a very hardworking blue-collar family. My dad was diagnosed with leukemia. I couldn't continue my education and had to focus more on holding a full-time job so I could help pay the bills and support my family. I'm a very curious person. One night I was watching an episode of Nova about genetics and evolution. Fireworks went off in my head thinking, oh yeah, that's something I could do. Why can't I go out and change the world? I decided to go back to school so I could study evolutionary genetics. It looks like I'm gonna be able to pay the bills while going into something where I could achieve my dreams. PBS presented me with an idea that had never occurred to me before. I've never felt such a purpose, and now all I do is dream big.
You're watching my television station, KRWG, Las Cruces.
Local support for a portion of today's programming is provided by Wells Fargo. Our support of Aggie students goes beyond just banking. By supporting NEWS22, we're giving back to the community. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far.
Tonight on NEWS22.
The officer killed at Texas Tech was from El Paso.
NMSU students are staying educated on breast cancer issues this month.
And we'll meet a barber who has overcome a handicap to practice his trade.
All that and more on NEWS22 Wednesday.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV NEWS22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kaylin Starrett.
And I'm Javier Gutierrez.
Scientists and science teachers all over New Mexico are rebelling.
They don't like the state's proposal on how science would be taught in public schools. 61 senior scientists and engineers at Los Alamos National Labs published their concerns in a full-page newspaper ad. They say the guidelines proposed by the state could weaken the study of climate change, evolution, and earth sciences. Administrators and teachers in Las Cruces school districts also are concerned about the proposal. The assistant superintendent says the proposal could hurt the state.
When businesses, especially scientifically oriented businesses, are looking at locating in a state, they look at the schools and they look at the standards and what's being taught, and so that should be a concern for everyone. She says teachers want to be included in making the final decision.
The Southwest Environmental Center is hosting a meeting. Its purpose is to educate the public on the dangers and solutions of climate change. Folks not in Cruces can still tune in to the talk. It will be Saturday, October 28th. It will be streamed online at cclusa.org/NMSU. If you plan to attend, tickets are $10 at the door. The conference will start at 8 a.m.
One New Mexico power plant is committed to helping the environment, even after President Trump announced he will repeal President Obama's Clean Power Plan, designed to limit carbon dioxide emissions. The Public Service Company of New Mexico will continue efforts to comply with the Clean Power Plan. It will use coal for only 12% of its power by 2025 and plans to be coal-free by 2031. Even so, Congressman Steve Pierce is happy about the undoing of the clean power regulations. He says ending the regulation will boost the New Mexico economy.
Say goodbye to the Rio Grande, at least until the spring. Irrigation officials are dialing back on water flow coming from the Elephant Butte and Caballo reservoirs. There's still some water continuing to flow in the Rio Grande as near Las Cruces because El Paso irrigators are continuing to use the water. But that flow is set to end within the next week, officials say. Barring any large rainstorms that create a significant runoff, the riverbed will stay mostly dry until late next winter or early next spring when Doña Ana farmers, El Paso farmers, and Mexican farmers water their crops for the 2018 season. And it was a nice day. It actually felt like fall, for the first time.
Yeah, it did. It was actually kind of cold this morning, actually. Yeah. Vicky's next with weather.
Thanks, guys. This is Victoria Balderrama. Now we're going to take a look at our Las Cruces current conditions. Right now, if you're outside, there's some sunny skies and a temperature of 74. The winds are coming from the southeast at 6 miles per hour. The humidity is at a low 36%. Our dew point is at 45 degrees and our barometer reads at 29.94 inches. Today in Las Cruces, we had a high of 81 and an overnight low of 54, averaging out to about 84 degrees. And back in time in 1996, we had oddly a high temperature of 92 degrees, and in 1970, we had a low of 34 degrees. Today we had no rain, so our precipitation stays at 9.28 inches. That's all I have for your current conditions. I'll be back to take a look at your national maps, but for now, back to Kaylin and Javi at the desk.
An ordained Las Cruces minister is in trouble with the law.
Police say he was involved in sexual activity with a 15-year-old girl. That's the first story in tonight's Crime Blotter.
This is on news. 30-year-old Steven Mendoza Arellano started texting the girl, sending her nude pictures of himself. Police say he had sex with her over the summer. The girl's parents called police in August. Arellano is an ordained minister and serves as the youth president for the Apostolic Assembly Church's New Mexico division. If convicted, he could face 70 years to life in prison. A Las Cruces man is in jail and 2 others are injured after a sexual assault and stabbing on October 4th. 25-year-old Hanson James Dennis allegedly assaulted a woman while she was at his home for a party. The suspect's brother tried to intervene and was stabbed by Dennis. Both victims were transported to a local hospital. Dennis was arrested Friday, October 6th and booked into the Doña Ana County Detention Center where he's being held without bond. A woman is in jail and charged with shooting her 12-year-old cousin in the back. Police say 36-year-old Tanya Kroll heard a noise and thought an intruder was inside her house. It was actually her cousin. She told police she'd been drinking moonshine. The boy was airlifted to an El Paso area hospital where he was listed in stable condition. She is charged with child abuse and negligent use of deadly weapon. I am Marlene Barraza with tonight's Crime Blotter.
Texas Tech University is remembering a police officer killed after checking on a student. Officer Floyd East Jr. was gunned down at the campus police station Monday night.
The suspect is a 19-year-old freshman named Hollis Daniels. Students gathered yesterday to remember the officer.
Last night, those events and those decisions that were made affected over 50,000 people.
And even bringing together the community. Hundreds came to show their support for fallen Texas Tech officer Floyd East Jr.
And the theme was to wear blue in order to honor the fallen police officer, and so it contributes to the sense of Texas Tech unity.
We lost someone in the community of Lubbock, and these guys, they have been they gave their lives to protect us.
He was in the process of protecting us from someone he didn't know was actually that dangerous, but in an effort to keep us safe on our campus and so we could get our education, he sacrificed a lot for us.
Several students having the same reaction, completely shocked that this happened on their campus.
You know, you really never really expect it to happen to your campus. You hear about it on the news from time to time.
One of the biggest things that we learn when we come to college is compassion and what we can do as students to change the world. And we never really expect this to happen to us. We see it happen in the news all the time.
Even in sorrow, it reminded them of the strength of the Red Raider community.
I've lived here all my life, and I don't know, just Texas Tech has never failed to come together in times of crises, and this is just an example of that.
I mean, the fact that all of us came out here to memorialize this officer, and just the fact that we're coming together as a community, just like really, it makes me happy that I came to Tech.
Looking around here, it just shows me that I made the right choice when I chose my college.
Several professors canceled class for the vigil. Officer East leaves behind 2 teenage daughters and a wife. New Mexico Attorney General Hector Balderas says watch out for scams. He says beware of sharing private, personal, or financial information over Facebook and other social medias. He says never send personal or financial information to anyone on social media. Balderas has also sent a letter to U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions. He told Sessions that gender identity discrimination is threatening millions of people. Balderas made the comment in a response to a memo issued last week that said federal civil rights law does not protect transgender people from discrimination at work. And New Mexico is now requiring independent groups that spend heavily on elections and ballot measures to disclose their contributors. The rules are designed to help voters understand what individuals and special interests are paying for political advertising. Disclosures will apply when groups spend more than $2,000 on elections.
The Boy Scouts of America are now welcoming girls into their Cub Scout program. The Boy Scouts Board of Directors plan to forge a path for older girls to pursue and earn the highest rank of Eagle Scout. The organization says the decision comes after years of getting requests from families and girls. Boy Scouts of America has about 2.3 million youth members between the ages of 7 and 21, and about 960,000 volunteers in the United States and its territories.
Stay tuned. Vicki will be back to take a look at your national forecast.
And later, a barber with something more than talent. More on that when NEWS22 continues.
Las Cruces and El Paso share a lot of history. See why we say Texas history begins in El Paso on our El Paso Gold Heritage documentary series, broadcast Sunday nights on KRWG-TV. See Legends of El Paso's Mountains, Gunfights of the Old West, El Paso's Waco Tanks, Mexican Revolution sites in El Paso, and many more El Paso TV documentaries on KRWG-TV.
Saturday at 12 noon on KRWG-TV.
Watch MHZ Worldview on Digital Broadcast Channel 22.2. Every day, world news and public affairs, and every night, international dramas, all in English or with English subtitles. Worldview is also available on Comcast Channel 395 in Las Cruces and 399 in Silver City, and Spectrum Channel 1271 in El Paso. Become a member anytime at krwg.org.
Welcome back. You're watching NEWS22 Wednesday,
where news matters.
October marks the start of Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
And that means free breast exams here on the NMSU campus. The Wellness Alcohol Violent Education of WAVE program paired with the Campus Health Center to give the free exams to any NMSU student. Breast cancer is a very common thing among men and women. 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer within their lifetime, and 1 in 3 cases are diagnosed by breast examination.
New Mexico does say that you should start getting breast examinations at 21, being that women do have to get pap smears at 21 as well. So it's just kind of take that extra precaution.
Breast examinations are encouraged to be done monthly. Running a high fever during early pregnancy is known to be dangerous, but until recently the question remained, is it the fever or the underlying infection that puts a baby at risk?
Kim Hutchinson explains more in today's Health Minute.
Fever during the first trimester can increase an infant's risk of developing a congenital heart defect and certain facial deformities like a cleft lip or cleft palate. A new study reveals that the high temperature itself can lead to birth defects separate from the underlying infection. The fever impacts both the fetus's heart and jaw during the first 3 to 8 weeks of pregnancy. The doctors behind the study say this is good news because fever-associated defects are preventable. It could even be as simple as taking over-the-counter medication like acetaminophen. Many women avoid medicating while pregnant. However, the senior author behind the study insists certain drugs are thought to be safe. He says you should always discuss all the risks and benefits of medication with your doctor. Researchers say they still don't know whether the severity or duration of a fever also has an impact on birth defects. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
Be Well New Mexico and the Office of the Superintendent of Insurance have just finished up the 3rd annual Health Insurance Roadshow here in Las Cruces. The event took place today from 4 to 6 at Doña Ana Community College. Experts from Be Well New Mexico and the OSI were on hand to meet with the public about important healthcare information and changes to the 2018 open enrollment period. The event will be around New Mexico until December 15th. It will go to other cities in New Mexico as well.
Cutting hair is an art, one that requires precision, skill, and lots of patience. However, some aren't born with the advantages everyone else has.
I was able to spend a couple afternoons in the shop learning about one barber's incredible story.
Eduardo Mejia is just like any other barber. He has his tools, clippers, and combs. However, he has one thing different about him. Eduardo only has one arm. He was born that way.
So growing up, everything I done, it's pretty much, that's the way I am, you know, like that's how I learned how to do everything, you know.
Growing up in Columbus, New Mexico, Eduardo and his family never really had access to a barber.
We didn't really have barbers, man, and like we didn't have the money, you know, to kind of like be paying, you know, because my dad just say he's disabled.
So he decided to take his hair into his own hands.
I started learning on myself, man, you know, I started like cutting my own hair, messing up my hair. Then I started cutting my little brother's hair, and that's how pretty much it started, man, you know. Like
moving from Columbus to Las Cruces, not only did Mejia have to make the transition to a new city, but he had to grow a new clientele base, and people were skeptical.
Like at first it's kind of hard, you know, because people don't really trust me, you know, like they're like, no, I don't know if that guy could do it, you know, like I don't really trust them. But like when they get to see me, man, they get to see my work and stuff like that, they change their mind, you know, like everything's possible.
Even though his clientele grew slowly at first, Eduardo has made a name for himself. He's now at Zuco's across the street from NMSU's main campus. He enjoys the area and the people he meets, all while doing what he loves.
It's really good, man. I love it, you know. I actually get to meet people from all over the world, you know. I don't know, I guess just the art, man, and then just to like being able to connect with people and like you didn't know, you know. I love it, man. I love being a barber.
Javier Gutierrez, NEWS22.
And Eduardo is encouraging others to come down to see him at Zuco's and the other barbers.
And Vicki is next with our national forecast.
We've definitely been feeling the fall season kick in, but other places in the United States have been feeling cooler temperatures. In Seattle, they have been having rains and are currently at 56 degrees. In Salt Lake City, they're feeling those winds at 74 degrees. Oklahoma at 69 and Atlanta at 84. And in my next map, we'll see that the East Coast is being affected by Hurricane Ophelia throughout Saturday, bringing those rough seas, rain, and gusty winds. And in my next map, we'll see that those places being affected, especially Miami, are going to be feeling that tropical downpour. And with that comes showers and thunderstorms forecasted throughout the late week. And I'll be back with your national temperatures. We're going to take a short break.
The Doña Ana Arts Council,
presenting the Renaissance Arts Fair. Magicians, jousters, arts and crafts, food and games. Saturday and Sunday, November 4th and 5th at Young Park in Las Cruces. The Renaissance Arts Fair is New Mexico true.
On Masterpiece.
50 now, 50 when you bring me the names.
Religious sects make me uneasy. They're seedbeds for revolution.
Get word to my wife, I've been delayed.
If you are found ashore after midnight, you will be executed. Whole Dark on Masterpiece.
Thursday at 8 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Next time on A Chef's Life. We have a really good vibe in the kitchen right now. Everybody seems to be working really well together. Rabbit sometimes needs a little help building flavor, so I'm going to reduce my stock a little to intensify. Rabbit is the meat of the future, as long as we can get past that whole cuddly pet thing.
Oh my God. So this one's 6 days old.
Saturday morning at 10 on KRWG TV.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at our New Mexico temperatures. Right now in Farmington, we are at 68, Santa Fe at 65, Clovis 72, Socorro 73, Roswell at 74, and Deming at 77. Tomorrow in Farmington, they'll be at 78, Gallup at 76, Albuquerque at 80, Socorro 83, Roswell 85, Las Cruces 87, and Deming at 87. Taking a look at our sister cities, in Alamogordo, they'll be having clear skies with a low of 55. Tomorrow, a high of 85. In Truth or Consequences, tonight, also clear skies with a low of 55. And tomorrow, sunny skies at 87. Silver City with partly cloudy skies tonight with a low of 48. And tomorrow at 79. And in the City of the Crosses tonight, a low of 54. And tomorrow, sunny skies with a high of 87. That's all I have for you now, but we're going to take it back to the desk.
Colorado, go ahead. Colorado is experiencing some of its coldest temperatures at the moment.
That's the first story in tonight's Southwest Minute.
Was left a blanket of snow. The storm passed, but the cold temperature lingered. The city had its coldest night in the last 6 months on Monday. A 16-year-old Nevada teen is in jail and a 14-year-old is injured after a stabbing today at Chaparral High School in Las Vegas. Clark County School District police say a 16-year-old female student got into a fight with another 14-year-old girl and stabbed her multiple times in the chest. The girl was rushed to the hospital. Her injuries are non-life-threatening. The fire in Northern California is only expected to get worse. Winds are predicted to pick back up on Wednesday and threaten to spread the dangerous wildfires. 21 people are dead, homes are destroyed, and thousands have been evacuated. More than 500 people are missing in Sonoma County alone. Most of the fire started Sunday, driven by winds of almost 80 miles per hour and dry conditions. For the Southwest Minute, I am Marlene Barraza.
And Nolan Fox is next with sports.
Thanks, guys. Coming up in sports, an Aggie football player has been nominated for an award. I'll tell you which one next on News 22 Sports.
So where does the story start? My girlfriend was covered up to her elbows in chocolate and found it enjoyable. So, you know, I said, let's do this. Really?
This is it. Chocolate will make me happy.
Saturday morning at 9:30 on KRWG TV.
My heart keeps going back to Nashville.
This is Ray Stevens, and I'm trying to keep a low profile. The Blue Cyclone stops by Cabaret in Nashville this week, and we just don't get along. I mean, I get along fine with Aaron Tippin, though, and who wouldn't?
You'd say you've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Make a date to tune in this week and see if I survive the cyclone.
Saturday at 4:30 p.m. on KRWG TV.
This is KRWG TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back, and hold on to your socks because I'm Nolan Fox with News 22 Sports. Basketball season is right around the corner, and both New Mexico State men's and women's teams are expected to do well this year. The men's team was picked to finish second in the WAC this season, while the women's team was picked to win the conference. Both teams won the WAC tournament last year and made it to the NCAA tournament. The New Mexico State soccer team is coming off an exciting weekend after they played in 2 double overtime games. On Friday against Cal State Bakersfield, they trailed 2-0 with 10 minutes to play. Then they got a goal from Aileen Alicia to pull within 1. Then, with 3 minutes to play, Galicia scored again to force overtime. But after 2 overtime periods, they would have to settle for the draw. Despite the tie, head coach Freddie Delgado was proud of the way his team fought back.
I'm just so proud of the effort that we gave. We got that first goal, and then that was a burst for us, and then we got that second goal, and then even going into overtime. I mean, I really thought we had the momentum going in overtime, so the work ethic of this team is just...
That was on Friday. Then the Aggies beat Grand Canyon 2-1 on Sunday, also in double overtime. Their next game is tomorrow at Utah Valley. New Mexico State wide receiver Jaleel Scott is on the radar for the prestigious award. Scott is one of 9 players that was named to the Biletnikoff watch list. The Biletnikoff Award is handed to the most outstanding wide receiver in college football at the end of every football season. So far this season, Scott has 35 catches for 453 yards and 5 touchdowns. Scott will look to continue his success this weekend against Georgia Southern. And we have a couple of exciting MLB playoff games tonight. The Cleveland Indians will host the New York Yankees in Game 5 of the ALDS. The winner of that game will move on to play the Houston Astros in the American League Championship Series. Then in the NLDS, the Chicago Cubs have a chance to put away the Washington Nationals tonight in Game 4. And if the Cubs win, they will move on to play the Dodgers in the National League Championship Series. But if the Nationals win, Game 5 will be tomorrow in Washington. For the first time since 1986, the United States men's national soccer team will have to sit out of the World Cup. Yesterday, Team USA failed to qualify for the 2018 World Cup in their match against Trinidad and Tobago. They had it to at least finish the game with a tie, but Trinidad and Tobago scored early as they ended up winning the match 2-1. We'll just have to wait and see what changes the program will make going forward. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead, Vicky will be back with your 5-day forecast. But first, some people will have to get them for special reasons. Some people get them to look cool, but soon tattoos will be able to track your health. More on that when News 22 returns.
On Masterpiece.
Reverend Osborne Whitworth.
Oh, I pray you excuse me, sir.
I assure you my love will be returned.
Make sure all's ready. Run!
How do you sleep at night, George?
Perhaps you should ask Elizabeth.
Poldark on Masterpiece.
Sunday at 8 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Welcome to the busiest maternity hospital on the planet.
Ilan pong anak ang plano niyo?
Bear witness to the human spirit in a hospital bursting with life. Motherland.
Monday at 9 p.m. on KRWG TV.
Let's take a look at our top stories. The Rio Grande is drying up. Every year around this time, the dams at Elephant Butte and Caballo Lake close again, drying up the river for the winter. A vigil was held for an officer killed in Lubbock. Officer Floyd East Jr. was gunned down at the Texas Tech University campus on Monday. And we showed you how one local barber continues to do something he loves and doesn't let anything get in his way.
Tattoos have been in style for quite some time now, but no tattoo is advanced as these. Soon enough, tattoos might be able to help track your health. Researchers at Harvard Medical School and MIT have designed new tattoo ink that changes color according to your biochemistry. So if your glucose levels increase, the green in your tattoo will darken to brown. The team used pig skin samples to test the ink. They're hoping the innovation will help people better monitor their health.
That's pretty cool. Tattoo changes color.
Yeah, I mean, what's next? Yeah.
What's next? Vicky, what is the 5 days looking like?
Well, you guys, we are looking at some really warm temperature this week, which is weird because we did feel like a bit of the cold front these past days. And Thursday, we will be having sunny skies with a high of 87. Friday, also sunny with a high of 88. Saturday at 89 and Sunday at 82. So we'll be having some really nice temperatures, and on Monday we'll have a high of 79. So we'll be having really good sweater weather.
That is good. And don't forget, you can catch all today's aired stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page at youtube.com/KRWG News 22.
And follow us on Twitter and Instagram for show updates and the latest on what the News 22 team is up to. I'm Kaylin Starrett.
I'm Javier Gutierrez.
And I'm Victoria Valderrama.